Hi, my name is Kinsley and I am here with my teammates Zoe, Alex, and Gonzalo. We are team the Chainsmokers and we will be presenting our final design and competition results from the ME 2110 Monty Python and the Holy Grail competition. This presentation will cover the objectives of the competition, the 5 designs generated, the final machine selected, and the results from testing before the final competition. Finally, we will conclude with our competition results. The main objective is to score as many points as possible during the final competition. To do this, a variety of different challenges must be completed, including removing and blocking the Black Knight, collecting shrubbery, attacking each entrance of the Beast Lair with holy hand grenades, and capturing the Holy Grail. This table shows the distribution of points for the completion of each task. It will be difficult to collect the shrubbery and the Holy Grail because 2 and 3 teams during each match respectively will be fighting to complete the same task. Due to these challenges, the machine will focus on attacking each quadrant of the Beast Lair with grenades and exiting the competition arena, since these tasks are controlled by the machine's individual ability and will limit the different variables affecting the score each round. While all the tasks will affect the potential to score the maximum of 140 points, the machine will focus on the grenade task as it is the most feasible and has 40% impact on the final score. Since attacking each quadrant of the Beast Lair and exiting the arena are deemed most important for the final competition, the 5 design concepts focused on differing designs for the attack and egress of the machine. Assessment of the different subsystems was based on the initial prototyping of various ideas. The first design is Kanye. To complete the Black Knight's task, an actuator knocks an arm that uses mousetraps to hit the Black Knight into an opponent's zone. For the shrubbery task, 2 L-shaped arms fall and sweep from the lair towards the corner of the home zone. The weakness of Kanye is the need for the shrubbery task to be completed first because of the direct competition with opponents. To attack each Beast Layer's entrance, the grenade subsystem uses a hollow pipe and spinning wheel to deposit the grenades. Finally, the Holy Grail subsystem uses an arm with a hook at the end that flips from a platform using a mousetrap. The weaknesses of this design are that the mousetraps would fatigue and balancing the grail on the hook could possibly lead for it to fall into opponents' zones. The second design is Good Intentions. The Black Knight is removed from the home zone using a wooden arm on the grenade platform that hits the Black Knight from above. The extra weight added to the grenade subsystem would weigh down the platform, possibly preventing it from reaching the lair. To collect shrubbery, 2 arms flip out and fall over shrubs to rake them in using a motor and string in combination. To attack each Beast Layer's entrance, the grenade subsystem uses a similar design to Kanye. For the Grail task, an arm would extend with a gripper that would be activated by a solenoid. This subsystem could cause interference since it is placed on the grenade platform, defeating the purpose of focusing on the grenade task, and it could also possibly knock the Grail into opponent zones. The third design is Inside Out. The Black Knight task uses an arm with a scooper and an actuator to bring the object towards the machine and out of the competition arena. Because the L-shaped shrubbery arms sweep instead of raking, other teams' arms could extend over the shrubs, preventing Inside Out from collecting them. A hollow pipe on a platform releases grenades into each entrance when a solenoid is retracted. However, a mechanical mechanism would be more reliable than depending on the My Rio to make the solenoid work properly. The Holy Grail is captured with the extension of a bug-catching net. The fourth design is a race. To complete the Black Knight task, an actuator swings an arm to push the Black Knight into the other team's zone. The shrubbery task flips 2 arms towards the corner of the home zone to rake shrubs in using a combination of motor and string. Interference between these 2 subsystems is possible. The grenade attacks each entrance with the use of drawer slides and a hollow pipe. A mousetrap allows for the passage of the grenades in each slot of the layer. Since mousetraps are used, a race would fatigue and they would need more frequent replacement. The Holy Grail is captured with the grasping contraption held open by a solenoid that would then close around the Grail. The fifth design is All We Know. The Black Knight task is completed by using a wooden arm on the front of the machine that is held back by a string until a solenoid retracts and sets off a mousetrap. A clasp is released when the mousetrap is activated. While the mousetraps will fatigue and need frequent replacement, hitting the Black Knight from above allows for gravity of the falling arm to contribute to the force that removes it. For the shrubbery task, 2 S-shaped arms are used to maximize the length while meeting the boxing requirement. They are propelled out towards the lair and over the shrubs to rake them in towards the corner of the home zone. All We Know allows for the collection of the shrubbery without interfering with the removal of the Black Knight. Once the Black Knight subsystem has fallen and the grenade subsystem is actuated, the drawer sliders move towards the lair. The drawer slides are mounted horizontally to utilize gravity to propel the subsystem forward. A hollow pipe is mounted on the platform and deposits grenades using a wooden wheel. A Holy Grail design was not designed for this machine. Although only one design was selected, all designs were revisited to improve the final design concept. So which design was selected? Two pneumatic actuators push the shrubbery subsystem arms over the shrubbery. Wedges by the hinges maintain initial angles so the arms can flip over the machine. A solenoid retracts and releases the tension of a string connected to a mousetrap on the machine to push the Black Knight subsystem forward. The first motor pulls in the string with the clasps to open the Black Knight subsystem and then pulls both shrubbery arms with strings back 3 inches to ensure the shrubbery is pulled into the home zone. Drawer sliders 1 and 2 of the grenade subsystem were mounted horizontally and propped up by the Black Knight subsystem. As the Black Knight subsystem falls, the grenade subsystem is released towards the layer in the center of the arena. A second motor is utilized to pull the subsystem back towards the home base. The Black Knight subsystem was programmed to release after 33 seconds as it was assumed other teams' shrubbery arms would no longer be blocking their home zone. The Black Knight was never removed from the home zone during testing before the qualifying round. The overall designs between the qualifying and final rounds were the same, but improvements such as replacing the mousetraps more frequently, changing the direction of the removal of the Black Knight, and shortening the width of the overall subsystem were made. Testing before the competition led to the removal of the Black Knight 5 out of 20 times. Although the Black Knight only had 25% reliability, our primary incentive for removing the Black Knight into an opponent's home zone instead of bringing it into the home base was to be able to reach the marking difference of 26 points with neighboring teams instead of 13. Design ideas to bring it back into the home zone were not explored for the final design. All We Know allows for the collection of shrubbery without interfering with the removal of the Black Knight. It also slightly blocks other teams from moving Black Knights into the home zone. The shrubbery subsystem had successful runs 6 out of the 10 times before the qualifying round, with a maximum of 14 points gained. The shrubbery subsystem changed from a sweeping to a raking motion between the qualifying and final round, so the arms would fall over the balls, increasing the likelihood of collecting them before opponents. The S shape of the arms replaced the straight arms with the L-shaped ends to increase the amount of balls collected since the arms were longer. This design was reliable 12 of the 20 runs and brought in an average of 4 shrubs with a maximum amount of shrubs collected 25% of the time. This ultimately led to this selection over sweeping arms that averaged collecting only 3 shrubs. During testing before the qualifying round, 9 points were scored each time for the grenade subsystem. This subsystem worked properly on 4 of the 10 runs. Most of the design ideas for the subsystem were prototyped, tested, and analyzed before the final competition. Some of the flaws that were repaired from the qualifying round machine included the change in drawer slider position from vertical to horizontal to utilize gravity, the attachment of the grenade subsystem to more centralized pillars to prevent blooming of the shrubbery arms, and a more supported grenade platform design to reduce movement of the base. A simple revolving door design was selected for the grenade subsystem because it worked 85% of the time with an average of 33 points collected. Although All We Know performed well during testing, results cannot anticipate being as consistent as the initial tests since other teams will be competing for the same objects in the final competition. So let's see how All We Know did in the final competition. During the final competition, All We Know made it past the first and second round with a placement of second and third and a score of 8 and -13 respectively. All We Know was then seeded 42 for the third round. In the third round, All We Know placed third with 3 points, resulting in immediate disqualification. Due to unknown variables in the final competition, the machine did not perform as predicted. For example, opponents retrieved shrubs first. Although the grenade task was the primary focus for the competition, it never reached the layer as intended during each round. Unfortunately, All We Know did not work properly because ropes tangled, inhibiting the Black Knight and grenade subsystems from actuating. Today we covered the 5 design concepts generated and the evaluation of each of these designs. All We Know was chosen because of its ability to complete the grenade task, followed by the Black Knight task and the shrubbery task most effectively. All We Know was tested, evaluated, and modified to maximize the points scored into the final competition. Testing proved the machine to be reliable, however, during the final competition, it did not perform as tested. Going forward, new approaches to capturing the Holy Grail should be explored, the shrubbery arms should act faster, and motors and mousetraps should be placed better so ropes are as short as possible to avoid tangling.
Setting fires to keep you warm.